Hey guys, what is up? It is me, Pagey, here once again with another video on The Flash Season 7. So we're almost at the end of The Flash Season 7, which is crazy to think because it does only feel like we started it a few weeks ago or a few weeks back. So I think we got like, what, 5 episodes to go? But I guess that shows how quickly this year is flying by. But of course, we had the first half of the season focusing on the, I guess wrapping up what season 6 was meant to be, but then also mainly focusing on the Force storyline. And the second half of the season, though it doesn't seem like it at the current moment, based off the episodes we've just had, and also this week's upcoming episode, it will be focusing on the Godspeed character and some weird stuff going on around all of that. Now, of course, we know that David Ramsey, aka Diggle from Arrow, will be showing up on all the Arrowverse shows this season, with his first appearance on Batwoman already taking place last week, and his next stop is actually, well, it's actually in Legends, I think technically. That's not Diggle, it's a random, not a random person, but like another character, another person. So his next stop as Diggle is in Central City itself. So in this video, we're going to go over quite a good amount of information and promo material based around the 2 upcoming episodes, which feature both Godspeed as well as Diggle-related antics. But of course, throughout the video, be sure to let me know your various thoughts, opinions, theories, expectations, anything like that in the comments section down below. I'm always curious to read them. And of course, if you're going to enjoy the video and you're excited for what's coming up, the last handful of episodes for this season, want to drop a like on it to show support and excitement. So to start off, this week, we have an Allegra-based episode, which will be interesting, to say the least, due to the fact that it actually won't have any of the original characters in it, for the most part. There's no Barry, the Barry's in like one scene from no, apparently there's no Iris at all. Caitlin is in it for a tiny bit. And I think Frost is there for like a scene, though it could have something at the end which sets up next episode, that being episode 15, which is entitled Enemy at the Gates, which will feature not just one Godspeed, but an army. So yeah, this week's episode could be a throwaway filler episode completely with nothing related, but then again, maybe the end sets up the next week's episode. But in regards to that next episode after that, the episode 15, Enemy at the Gates, they did release the synopsis for that over the past week. So yeah, let's read it out and go over it. When an army of Godspeeds attacks Central City, Barry and Iris must put their family plans on hold and focus on the latest threat to their home. Meanwhile, Chilblain is released from prison and claims to be reformed, but Frost has her doubts. Now, of course, we aren't meeting Godspeed for the first time this season. We've met him back, not just last season, but back in season 5. However, we were led to believe at that moment that he died or something. Like he fell from a high point and landed on something and looked like he was electrified. It was a bit weird. They didn't really explain it. But then in season 6, we started to get stuff that will, relate to this storyline. I don't know if that season 5 future episode will relate to what's happening this season, but the stuff at the beginning of season 6 and what happened during season 6 should relate to what's going on in this storyline. And that is with the weird Godspeed clones. Now, this started in episode 1 of season 6, and then I think it was in episode 18 of season 6 we had, where we had that episode with a larger Godspeed focus, but that also turned out to be another clone. So we have been waiting a while to get into the meat and potatoes of that storyline, and that time is now. Now, the thing I'm curious about with this storyline is whether Godspeed is still from the future, or whether they change it to where he is now from the present day, or maybe, just maybe, it's another Earth. Maybe it's a post-crisis change or something like that. However, we do know from set photos that it appears that there will be a scene with Godspeed, Impulse, XS, and the Flash in the future, in the 150th episode, which is episode 17. Of course, it could be in the present day and maybe just look like it was futuristic. Or maybe Godspeed is from the present day but learns about the future children and runs to the future or something. That's for us to wait and find out. We don't know. But yeah, I do wonder what Godspeed's just, overall plan was, that he was sending these clones back for such a long period of time, and why is he only attacking now? That'll be interesting to find out if it is revealed why that was happening. Now, obviously, we have Chilblain back. We know that he escaped prison when the the force, the lightning from the forces caused the prison break. I can't remember what it was, prison break because of the force lightning or the speed force storm, whatever it was. I don't know what's going to happen there. I think it's only going to be 1 or 2 scenes, to be completely honest. But then we have the Ultraviolet and Allegra stuff continuing on in this episode as well, apparently. So that'll probably be B and C plots, which we get in all the episodes, but it's standard. But it's pretty rare they actually reveal what they are in the synopsis, and that's probably what they're going to be. I will be interested to see whether they play into the larger story of whether it's the episode of the season, or even maybe next season as well. That's a potential thing there as well. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Now, they did release some promo images for this episode. However, they are limited because I don't think they want to spoil stuff. The thing is, though, is that Godspeed's in the synopsis, and I don't know if anyone's said this, or no, anyone's noticed this, and I've said this before in previous videos when Godspeed's going to be in an episode. Even though we know Godspeed's going to be in the episode, he's literally either in the title of the episode or in the synopsis or something. They don't like to put promo images out of him, which completely confuses me. Like, I remember we had that episode, season 5 episode in the future. The episode was literally called Godspeed, and they didn't release any promo images until the day the episode aired of Godspeed. So these promo images are just in Star Labs, and it seems to be like Barry, as well as like Chester, and I think Frost is there as well, potentially reacting to the Godspeed stuff on screen. Maybe they learn, oh crap, Godspeed's back. They get like the signal, or maybe like maybe because it's like a army of Godspeeds, they see all these different clones and it's making Barry sort of freak out. So that's what it seems happening, or seems like it's happening on the promo images, but we won't know until we watch the episode. But next up, we actually have our first promo material regarding Diggle on The Flash, that being within the synopsis or description for episode 16 of this season, which is otherwise entitled POW, and here is how it reads. John Diggle arrives in Central City with a weapon to help Barry stop the Godspeed War. Meanwhile, Allegra and Ultraviolet's new bond is put to the ultimate test while Joe and Kristen Kramer are hunted by a former colleague of hers. So the first thing, Godspeed War? I mean, that sounds not only intimidating, but also fairly intriguing. So I guess the big question is like, is that a war on Godspeeds from Team Flash? So it's Team Flash versing like an army of Godspeeds, like they say for the episode 15 synopsis. So it's like the Godspeed War. Or is it maybe a war between certain Godspeeds? Like there's bad Godspeeds and, well, less bad or worse, more bad? I don't know, something along those lines. I mean, you'd have to assume it's a war on the Godspeeds from Team Flash's perspective. You'd have to think that's logically what it is. There is the possibility that maybe it is a mix of the Flash War storyline and the Godspeed, I guess, storyline from the comics. I don't know if they go down that route because the Flash War storyline from the comics sort of leads into what the Force storyline was in the comics. So they sort of have them like back to front, I guess. But they could do that if they wanted to. They're leaning heavily on Rebirth comics, which is good for new readers of the comics, I guess. But it sort of hurts the show because they're not the strongest storylines from the comics. But I don't know. Maybe that's what they're doing there. Obviously, it should, and you'd hopefully think will, be much easier to understand what is being hinted at in this synopsis once we watch the previous episode where the army of Godspeeds arrive initially. But man, I can't wait to see how they present all of this. And based off what's happening here, it'd have to be like a crazy last 4 episodes. And sorry if you can hear like banging. There's just a crazy windstorm outside. It's not a speedfall storm, it's just windy. Now, of course, it does say that Diggle arrives with a weapon. Now, it's probably from Argus. Maybe it's designed by Cisco, or Cisco helped with it. We know Cisco will be in the finale for this season, so maybe he returns personally in that episode to help with the Godspeed stuff right at the end when it's concluding. But, you know, it's Diggle's time to visit this time around. So what is the weapon? I saw people saying, oh my god, it's the Green Lantern ring. Sure, the Green Lantern ring is technically a weapon, but you'd have to think it's something more specific to the Godspeed situation. Maybe it's like something that stops Godspeed from duplicating himself and being able to clone. Or when you like shoot it at the clones, maybe they go back to the original Godspeed or something like that. Something along those lines. It wouldn't surprise me too much if it's that type of weapon. We'll have to wait and see. Now, I am curious whether they continue the story with Diggle that was sort of set up with Batwoman, because he was having like these head pains and stuff like that, which is going to be like a repercussion of him not accepting the ring. So I'd have to assume that's continues in this episode, or at least it's referenced. I guess it's a wait and find out situation, because I don't know if they knew that this episode would be airing after Batwoman and before Superman and Lois and before Supergirl. I don't know if they knew that when they wrote it and made it. Once again, we'll have to wait and see, but, you know, I'm interested to find out. Now, obviously, the episode title of POW, like when you say POW, to me, I think prisoner of war, or is it something else? Now, they say it's a Godspeed war, so is there a prisoner of the Godspeed war? Now, because the episode's talking about a Godspeed war, maybe it's revealed the real Godspeed, the original Godspeed that we know, isn't behind it all, and maybe someone is using him to make all these clones and do all this. Maybe it's known that, like, someone finds out in the future, maybe that Godspeed can make clones of himself So someone captures Godspeed and is doing that intentionally to do some bidding and stuff. I think it was in the episode last season when they said it was like another speedster was using them. Like they didn't necessarily say it was the real Godspeed was using them. They said it was another speedster trying to find like infinite speed or something like that. So I don't know. Maybe it's not Godspeed that's behind it all, and someone's actually using him, and he's actually a prisoner of war, or a prisoner of the Godspeed War in this case. So that'll be interesting to find out. Now, finally, we do actually have a quote from Danielle Nicolette, who plays Cecile on David Ramsey's guest episode. So she was doing an interview. I think it was with comicbook.com, and she was asked this question: "What is one moment or scene from an upcoming episode that you just can't wait for fans to see?" And this is what she said: "David Ramsey in episode 16, and that's all I'll say. Quality time with David Ramsey. We all know that he's coming on the show, so that's not a spoiler. I will just say it's one hell of an episode." So yeah, overall, heading into the final, I guess 5 episodes, but specifically 4 episodes once this Godspeed Army arrives, I think it's going to knock it out of the park, to be completely honest. The only issue is that the current state of the past 3 episodes, or at least specifically last week's episode and this week's upcoming episode, has upsetted fans, and I can completely understand because it just feels like nothing's happening. But if they've specifically said, hey, we did that because we wanted the last 4 episodes to be like bang, 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 and be like 10 out of 10s, or at least 8 or 9 out of 10s each of those weeks to finish off the season, I would forgive them. But then I'd say, hey, maybe for next season, try and spread it out a bit. Just try and spread it out a bit. You know, when you eat a sandwich, sometimes you don't want a pocket of mayonnaise. You don't want to bite in and just get a pocket of mayonnaise. Sometimes you want the mayonnaise or the mustard or the ketchup or the barbecue sauce. You want it nicely spread so you get an even flavor across the sandwich. Do that next time. We don't want that pocket of sauce. It can be a bit too much, you know? But yeah, anyway, enough of sandwich analogies. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, it'd be awesome if you could drop a like on it to show support. Let me know in the comment section down below your various opinions on all this. Are you looking forward to it? Any theories heading into it? Do you think it's actually the real Godspeed that's attacking, or is it someone else, a larger force behind it? Let me know all your thoughts down there in the comments. And of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe, and I'll catch you guys later. And goodbye.